Welcome back to the channel, guys. Self Educated Economist here. And in this video, I'm going to be looking at the NASDAQ versus the price of Bitcoin. And this is going to be a macro look. So this is a monthly chart. Over here, starting from the left, going down to the right here, the candles, right? That's the NASDAQ versus Bitcoin. So as you could see back here in November 2011, it took one share of the Nasdaq gave you a lot of Bitcoin, right? So one share of the Nasdaq gave you about 1,000 Bitcoin, and as you can see, it has been in a downtrend ever since up until today, and we're now currently in December 2025, and the Nasdaq gives you about 0.29 Bitcoin. So you can see Bitcoin is dominating the Nasdaq over the long term, and maybe there's an argument to be said that absolutely it's going, the jumps aren't going to be so big, so like the Nasdaq isn't going to drop off all the way down here like tomorrow. It's going to take a much longer time, but I think you potentially can see some bigger jumps into the future because I think Bitcoin will grow significantly. But yeah, so as you could see that when Bitcoin goes into a bear market, the moves have become a lot smaller in terms of the gains of the Nasdaq over Bitcoin. They have become much smaller, and this is also true when you look at it from dollar standpoint, right? So as you can see in this one from this first one back here in 2013, 2014, during that time, the Nasdaq rallied 1,000% versus Bitcoin. And then the one after that one, 2018, 2018 pretty much, you could see that the Nasdaq rallied 518%, and then et cetera, 244, and the most recent one, 54%. In my opinion, as you could see, that it's been the gains in the Nasdaq over Bitcoin have been dropping significantly. I don't think Bitcoin is going to drop much more from where it has already dropped. Like maybe it could drop down to somewhere in the 60,000 to the 70,000 range. Maybe you could dip into like the 508s, the high 50,000 numbers, right? Maybe it could get as low to those regions, but I don't think it's going to drop significantly more than that. And as you could also see that they last approximately about a year. So I think it's going to around October is the common consensus how long Bitcoin will typically be in a bear market, because the high was in October of this year, so it'll last about approximately a year. There's some talk on the internet. Ben Cowan says that it could potentially last until May, and then you see some turnaround. I think this is also possible, but I think it's going to be mostly like a sideways move. It's not going to be a significant move. But yeah, October 2026 is kind of like what I'm looking at in terms of long-term macro trends for Bitcoin and seeing Bitcoin turn around and rally. I would like to actually make these a version of this as well, the Nasdaq versus gold. That would be, I think, would be really interesting to look at. And these are some videos I'll be making in the months to come as I kind of look at these ideas at a deeper level. I'll look at this one also on a weekly, so we could get some more accurate numbers, because you don't really land on the specific highs. And possibly I'll also make a video on the daily, but maybe look at it more from like a more recent time, maybe the last year or so. And I think these would be really interesting videos to give people some ideas, and also just for me to document my ideas of what I think is happening from a macro standpoint at the price of Bitcoin versus indexes like the S&P 500, and yeah, and other things. So yeah, so if you're liking the content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.